this thing on? Is this thing on? What is up, Insomniac Hour? I am Josh, and what is up, all you Insomniacs, everybody who can't sleep tonight, sitting there wondering, I wonder what we're going to talk about tonight. He's got something on there about natural law and cosmic order and all this weird, interesting stuff. Well, we're waiting for Dimitri to join us. He'll be here a little while. But we're talking about something that we talked about a few weeks ago pertaining to natural laws. Now, we went over the natural laws. We went over a few different things. But I want to get a little bit more deeper into this because this is a conversation that we could probably spend days on. Seriously. So, a few things that I want to talk about. Has anybody ever seen the word occult and been like, oh, that's a bad word. Oh, don't go there. That word is bad. You know, it's you kind of see it in religious dogma, right? Is that you stay away from the occult, the occult arts and these types of things. Now, modern day occultism is quite an interesting phenomenon. It's much different than it was 100 years ago, and even 100 years ago, as well as a few thousand years ago. Much different. Now, all of these practices, these rituals and routines that derive from this, these philosophies, if you want to call them that, they come about through what we call the foundation or the fundamentals of what we know of as natural law. And we kind of went over the basis of natural law, the mind of the universe, correspondence. We had vibration. We had polarity and all these other things, gender. And so I want to touch on a few things. So Annie just kind of hit it up right there. And of course, everything is just going to stop working when I bring this up. Give me 1 second. We're going to talk about a few things here. All right. And I got to get my screen sharing live. I was running a little bit behind tonight. I was waiting for Dimitri to join. He texted me last minute, said he had a deal with some ruffians about. So let him take care of that, and I'll take care of you guys. But these slides, by the way, are from a website known as What on Earth is Happening, a guy by the name of Mark Paseo. He is a former black magician, black priest of Auntie LaVey's satanic order. He is an amazing human being. He is very well read and very well studied, and he understands these things better than probably most people on the planet. Now, I'm going to move this just over a little bit so you guys can all see that there. Actually, what we'll do is we'll just minimize this guy. All right. So, occult knowledge. So, Anne was saying occult means hidden. Right, but we have to know a little bit more about what it means by hidden, right? The word occult is derived from the Latin adjective occultist, which is hidden. It comes from the Latin verb occultare, to hide, to conceal, to keep secret. But the root derivation, the etymology of the word oculus or occultis, comes from the word eye, oculus or occulti, is eye. And so when we have the word occultus, we're talking hidden from the eye, that which is hidden from the eye. Now, there's a lot of interesting meanings behind what this can mean, but specifically is another word that is typically associated with the word occult would be esoteric. And this is in contrast to exoteric. Exoteric meaning hidden without, very similar to occult, right? And exoteric. Now, exoteric in this concept that we'll be talking about is knowledge, information, truth, okay, that is within you, within that defined spirit, defined self. And we'll understand more about what esoteric knowledge leads to in the sense of the minor and the major arcana, which the word arcana derives to knowledge. So these words are like, they're occult words, and people are afraid of them. But they shouldn't be. Now, someone just said the satanic Freemasons. Freemasonry is not satanic. It was hijacked by Satanists. And this is what you need to understand. Oh, there's Dimitri. Let's let Dimitri in. Hopefully he's all settled. Hopefully he's not like rushing to get in here. But okay, so Dimitri, you are live on the air. You look like a cat in headlights.
I don't believe you.
But we are talking about occult knowledge. We're talking about natural law, and we're talking about cosmic order. And we're kind of getting a little indication. I'm giving it a little overview of what all this means and how it all fits together.
Natural versus cosmic law.
No, I'm kind of going over the fundamentals of what occult is, what occult means, and how we should not be scared of it. So, occult is a body of science, all right? This is not widely known to the general population. Obviously, it's hidden from them. Occult, the word occult comes from the Latin oculus, which means eye, but occultus, which means hidden from the eye or to conceal, right?
Okay.
So, consisting of hidden knowledge about the workings of the human psyche and the laws of nature, both seen physical laws and unseen spiritual laws. So, the occult is the study, the practice, the understanding of everything that pertains to physical laws and spiritual laws. Okay? Now, this is typically hidden information. The reason is because this information is very, very powerful in the right hands. Is you and I can both completely transform our lives by understanding this occult knowledge. Now, many people, when we say occult, they think demons and Satan and all this stuff.
I'm one of those.
This is
okay. Before that, yeah.
Now, that's actually a very where that derives from is about 16th century medieval Christianity. King James level Christianity as a mechanism of control and to suppress information now that the Gutenberg press was widely available. And from this, you saw lots of deaths, including, you had in the 1300s, you had the Knights Templars, you had the Crusades, which demolished everything. They had the Moors revolutions, and then you had, Alexander the Great, who took down everything that you could ever think of. We had the Library of Alexandria. And so,
well, hang on. I have a question. Is that why Da Vinci was forced to hide all of his scientific knowledge in his works? For instance, the one small booklet that he wrote was like a pamphlet of, I don't know exactly what it was, but basically he took the Fibonacci sequence, the Pythagorean theorem, and he put it into the name. So like the way that the letters are arranged, he basically hid all of his scientific knowings in this book so that nobody would find out and then hang him for it, essentially.
Well, yeah, very, very true. And so that is actually a great definition of what we're talking about here. Is he took esoteric information pertaining to the self that is hidden within, that you and I can both discover on a journey inward, and he occulted it.
Got it.
Okay? So let me ask you this. Is there anything evil about what he did?
Not that I think of.
Did the church believe that the information was bad and evil at that time?
Probably, yeah, because it was against what they said. Anything was against, anything was bad.
So the church at this time looks more like a draconian totalitarian state, kind of like what we got here. It's like 1984. So we understand that these words were demonized. By the way, demon. Does anybody know where the word demon comes from?
A lot of people call me demon. That's like the short. Dimitri in Russian, they call demon. They call me demon. That's like the nickname of Dimitri.
Dimitri in Russian, and demon go back to a root of daemon, and daemon means disembodied spirit.
Oh, but not necessarily evil either.
Nope,
doesn't sound.
Not at all.
Yeah,
not at all. And so the evil factions that we see attached to these words, like for instance, Baphomet.
Okay.
The evil attachment to Baphomet didn't come until 16, 17, 1800s, in early 20th century.
Right.
Satan was always realized to be a cosmic energy, a cosmic power, anthropomorphized through Saturn, right? Enlil, if you want to look at it like that. Lucifer was always looked at to be the light, the illusion, the Maya. Right?
He was the first. Yeah, he was the first one, right?
Right, and so this was
Whereas,
all misconstrued 325 AD, Emperor Constantine, Council of Nicaea, where they rewrote all religious functionality. Now, getting into this is we start to understand where certain words derive, and words are more important than you can ever understand. I've always said this, it's a Rudyard Kipling. So,
it's interesting that you just said my birthday twice. So you said 1984. That's the year I was born.
okay.
Listen, just hang on.
Yeah.
And then you said 325, which was 326 is the day I was born. And I know that's nothing to do with it, but it's
No,
just
it
to
has
me.
nothing to do with it, man.
But it's just kind of like, I mean, I was born on 326/84, and it's kind of weird that you just kind of sort of brought it up. And also, that's the same date of that little patent that we were talking about the other day.
Okay.
The day that it was released. Synchronicity, if you will.
Gotcha. So when we start looking in this, words are really important. We have a guy by the name out there, Rudyard Kipling. It's a quote I've used a few times. Words are the most powerful drug known to humanity, and I am but a dealer in words. Now, the word nature, do you know where it actually derives from?
Natural, the sea, the ocean.
So natural is the actual root word. Natural, nature,
Okay.
natural, and it actually derives from the Egyptian word neter, Neter, which means of spirit or of God. Okay, and
Wow,
then
that sounds like- yeah, okay.
you put on the post word al, which means of or from, deriving from. So natural or nature means deriving from the spirit or deriving from God.
Okay.
Now,
That makes sense.
so now anytime that you talk about natural law, natural forces, natural spirits and entities, these types of things, they all mean deriving from or pertaining to God. The ultimate
Right.
force, the prime mover, the absolute.
That's been hijacked too, right?
Well, all this knowledge has been hijacked. Yeah, absolutely.
Because first there was the God that from what I remember from Bruce Lipton when he spoke about this in epigenetics in the beginning, he said that God has been shifted from first the earth or everything natural, like to what we know as natural, was God, and then came the mono or the polytheistic, or the God of the rocks, God of the sea, God of the Greeks and the Romans, right? And then when the Christianity started forming, they just took all of those gods and they sent them off the planet. So now he's somewhere else, and it's completely different than from what natural would have originated from.
Well, that's kind of a very
Loose explanation. But
And I don't think this is Bruce Lipton's forte, is understand the natural law world, the world of the occult. But very, very early, man, as history told us, not necessarily truthful, was very, very scared of nature. And so what it did is it kind of symbolized nature, right, with other things. And so the trees would be associated with something, thunder would be associated with something, right. Lightning would be associated with something, and they give these sounds and these things that bring fear into them, they would give them names. Now this is called anthropomorphication. Eventually, as society developed and we started gaining knowledge, right, inner and outer, we started seeing the movement of the stars and the sun and so forth. We anthropomorphized those lesser beings, thunder, lightning, wind, into gods in the heavens that moved around us. Because it must have been them that was creating these things of fear here on the planet that produced movement. But
I got to tell you, like, if I was a cave dweller or whatever, a person, a man of that era, and I've never heard thunder before, right? And all of a sudden there's a huge thunderstorm and I see this flash of light and I hear this bang. I could imagine that I would be afraid or apprehensive as to what the hell that just was. I wouldn't be like, oh, let's go check this out, because I mean, back then anything new was essentially scary, right? Because it was the brain, it was like tattooed in there for like survival,
your
essentially, right?
Limbic brain, right? Your reptilian brain.
Right. But I can't see anybody accepting that as thunder or something like that, as being like, oh, okay, this is nice. But it's just because we didn't know.
It also comes about with reaction solution, right? Is if you have that thunder, lightning, and then the tree branch falls and kills your brother.
Yeah.
He must have done in that day. Your brother, smacked your wife upside the head because you guys are cave dwellers.
Right.
God was getting back to him and laying him vengeance. So therefore, thou shalt not hit another's wife. Right?
Okay, that makes sense.
And so that's how a lot of this derived. But so I don't really think that that's how a lot of this derived. I think that's kind of like a psychological explanation of it. I think a lot of this derived from the inner understanding of who and what we are. I think that we had a lot of this knowledge from the get-go. But if we go to ancient Egypt, where the word neter or nature derives, and this meaning of spirit or coming from God, and neter al, deriving from the root function of, right, is natural role, or the word nature means deriving from God. So we call natural law is the law given to us by God. Well, isn't there a biblical figure who went up to the top of a mountain and brought back down the law?
Yeah, after seeing a burning bush, no? Oh, no, this is the Emerald Tablets or the Ten Commandments?
Well, the Ten Commandments, right? Moses went up to Mount Ararat, came back down with the laws carved in stone.
Right.
By fire in front of a burning bush with wind.
Which was...
Now think about all the parts of Moses'
wind,
experience.
Water, fire.
That's right. There was rain, there was wind, there was lightning, there was thunder. What was all present there when Moses was on top of Mount Ararat when he received law?
Nature.
All the laws.
Makes sense.
And he brought down the law of man. Big difference here, okay? But see, this is what we know of as kind of like these representations of law. See, I can't, if you are not ordained in the mysteries, if you don't know a foundation of the mysteries, I can't teach the mysteries to you. I can't give you that bit of information where you're supposed to see the symbolic relationship of Moses going up there, right?
Right.
So you don't know the symbolic relationship. All you know is he came down with stone, carved, laws of man. Right?
I think
stone
back,
carved
yeah, well,
laws of
back
man.
then I don't think they questioned that too much.
Well,
you know
they
what I mean?
didn't because we have. Do you remember this pyramid I showed everybody? Let me pull this back up. This is really important to understand. I gotta find it now. I lost it, Ma. I lost it.
What was it? What was the name of it?
Oh, it's a pyramid.
Yeah,
You're not gonna find it. I made it myself.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, it's right.
Well, a lot of things happen in pyramids, even like the food pyramid.
Right. Well, this is a pyramid. If you're going to watch on YouTube, you can see this. But it has mind, natural law. Okay, so this would have been the 7 laws, would be mind and natural law. These are the 7 laws. Actually, going with Mark Baseo, there's 8 natural laws, and I kind of agree with him on this. The 8th one being after gender is care. And that's the taking care of and the looking after knowledge, the keeping of the flame. And it's the hidden law. It's attention. But so you have mind, natural law, human being, then the laws of mankind. And so
got it.
In Kabbalah, or the mysticism of Judaism, right? The story of Moses going up to Mount Ararat and coming down is perceived differently. Those who go on the quest of self-discovery must understand the mysteries. The mysteries was not that Moses came down with the law of man, which are underneath freedom, which is in a line of declination of freedom. Now think about that. The moment man applies law to self, man is no longer free.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Because now you have to follow certain laws. Obviously.
That's right. Now man is dictated by their own law, which is restraint. But it's mental constraint, it's mental discipline. It's the first fundamentals of self-discovery and self-understanding, but that is in a free state. This state, as dictated by Moses, came down as a system of control. Although I agree wholeheartedly with the moral and ethical value of those laws, it is the laws of man that he brought down, given to him by God.
By the laws of God, right.
Right?
Following the laws of God, right.
But when he was on the top of the mountain, he was within God. the laws of God. This is why it was raining. This is why there is thunder. This is why there is lightning. This is why there is wind. This is why there's a burning bush. He was within the 5 elements. Now, this is stuff I don't say often. It's not that I didn't have material for tonight. It's just I think that people who have been listening to us for a very, very long while, they can start seeing a little bit more of these mysteries and how they all work out. So, with this pyramid, is we see a system of control being derived. This is why they say enlightenment, mind, going above natural law, outside of natural law, outside of transient things, no longer identifying with gender, being within vibration, existing within all levels of correspondence, as above and so below, all at once, outside of time, being one with the mind, is known as totality or absolutism. This is enlightenment. This is samadhi. This is that state that people try to achieve.
Exactly. It's where we're trying to achieve, because in order for us to even be like, first of all, not even be there, to understand what it is, we have to understand, 1, the laws of mankind, 2, the natural law because we can't just pop into mind without knowing the other ones, simply because we've been brought up with these other laws intact. So hypothetically speaking, if somebody was born and was just raised, quote unquote, on the laws of just natural law without implying the laws of man, would it be easier for them to bypass it or to surpass it without knowing the laws of man?
Yep.
You know, it would be, right? Obviously, because it would be less restraint.
Well, I don't know, man. When we're looking at this, what we're looking at is we're looking at a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So right now you exist as a pyramid tier, like I was just showing. Your whole body, your whole domain of living exists as this pyramid tier. And above you exists one, and below you exists one. Of where, in your body, you have the laws, your ethicals and moral standards that you live by. You have those things which have to happen. The automatons, right? The automatic processes that have to happen. You have those things that are entities, artificials and corporate. They're stagnant, but they keep you functioning. They allow you to do what you do, right? Then you have the things within inside you that are property, money, intrinsic value. These are things that bring you meaning, but yet are not things that you have a conscious relationship with. And then you have an understanding of all these things, a fundamental basis of all that. Okay? And the laws of mankind pertaining to you are the laws in which you live your life. That is your discipline. That is your philosophy. But above that, yes.
If also the cells in my body, which law do they follow first? Do they even know about the laws of mankind?
Well, this is the interesting thing. You go back to Bruce Lipton. Now, here's the thing, is they follow the laws of genetic expression, okay, which are derived from the same pyramid of control. Right. So everything that we talk about here, right, the laws of mankind, public servants, entities, artificial corporations, property, money, these are belief systems.
Right.
And these derive genetic expression. Right? Okay. Which all come about through the natural state of a human being, through the fundamentals of netter, or natural law, which derive from the ultimate absolute mind, but many, many layers above us.
Right. Okay.
Okay? So
what's cosmic law has to do with cosmic law is essentially
cosmic order, not cosmic law. Okay. Natural law, cosmic order. Now, cosmic order can be defined as the law of correspondence, and simply put, and this is why it relates, because cosmic order can simply be the law of relationship. All right?
Okay.
Is that there is an order of how relationships are achieved and obtained. But to get there, we have to continue on this conversation of natural law.
Okay.
Right? Now, I want people to understand that a lot of what we talk about in philosophy and religion and theology and all these different structures and doctrines pertains to observable laws, observable natural law, okay? But utilizing logical deduction, we see that what is the only thing in the universe that can create without ever taking away from its own creation? Think about it. How can you create something new, right?
Mm-hmm.
Without making something new, without taking it away? If you have a finite amount of energy, how can you
Okay.
make something new within that finite amount of energy, but not create new energy?
You can't.
Yes, you can.
Can you?
Absolutely. Transmutation.
You change energy to a different form.
You change energy to a different form. All right?
Okay. I would think an idea would be an example of that, right? To just
Mind.
pass an idea.
So how about this? Is if you get to up to the ultimate, the totality, the top level of correspondence, absolutism. How does absolutism, in its infinite expansiveness, most likely in its finite energy structure, create something new? The only way that you can create something new is with mind.
Right.
The only new creations derive from mind. Look around you. Everything that you're looking at was an idea in somebody's mind.
Everything. Literally everything.
And then you go back to the law of correspondence. As above, so below. So if everything that you're looking at right now was an idea in somebody's mind, go outside and do the same thing. Because the law corresponds.
Not easy.
Go out to space and look at the stars. The law corresponds. Now,
Whose idea
cosmic
was that?
order comes in where that everything is in relation to everything. There is
Okay.
a synchronistic order to the universe. Remember how have you ever heard of the discussion of how I said everything in the universe is completely unique unto itself?
Right. Even like, yeah, of course, like
Right.
the moment that you were born and all, the time, the vibration that you sent
Right.
out in that moment is unique.
Which it is. Absolutely. But the relationships are as well.
Well,
The
yeah,
relationship that you have with everything in the universe is completely unique unto you. If you can imagine a tether attached to you at the moment of manifestation, of the first moment of conception, okay? A tether connected to you through time and space, okay? And that everything, everybody, every moment, every inkling of space that you connect with, that tether attaches itself to and creates a strand off of. All right?
huge, especially now with the internet.
Okay. Imagine for a moment the intricacies, how expansive your network of relationship is.
Infinite, essentially.
Well, how about this? Did you know that every human being on this planet is connected by 3 people?
6 degrees of separation, or 3 degrees of separation.
Well, it'd be 6 degrees of separation, but it's 3 people.
3 people. Okay, that's almost like impossible to believe. How are you going to tell me that? Like, how am I connected to some kid that was just born in India somewhere?
So take the same example I just gave you, the tethered rope.
Okay.
Okay? Is that somebody you've met or ran into is interconnected with somebody else who's interconnected with somebody else who's interconnected with somebody else. And when you bring that back, is everybody in the world is directly connected through relationship. This brings rise to cosmic intelligence, to cosmic consciousness, to collective consciousness. This brings rise to the connection back to our connector, because here's the thing, and this is one thing that nobody really perceives, is that string point, that point of conception where my tether was created, is directly attached to my mother's and my father's.
Right.
And my mothers and fathers are connected to their mothers and fathers, and their
Right.
mothers and fathers, and their mothers and fathers, all the way back to the beginning of human existence.
Okay.
So we are interconnected through time with tethers of relationship, of energy, of transmuted energy in exchange. You got to remember, all energy that is in relation is in exchange.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Course.
So when we think about this, what are we really talking about here? What is natural law? What is cosmic order?
Relationship of every single being and the universe. or the rest of it.
Exactly. It's the interconnectedness of existence. It is the fundamental laws that hold existence together, allow it to keep on moving, and it is the relationship that you have with it. Because you cannot remove yourself from the equation.
So, well, of course. So the difference between person to person would vary because of how much or how many of these connections they have. So everyone's connected, right? For instance, but let's say the reason I brought up the internet is, well, like Jeff Bezos, you said, could wake up in the morning and push a button and affect the world. So he can change the connections of everyone in the world, or most of the people in the world, by a push of a button, because the universe trusts him essentially to do so. And somebody like for instance, like you or I, if we post something on the internet, like I make a post, a lot more people than would see that if I just came outside and spoke it into the air, like immediately, so to speak.
That's that's kind of a good example right there. Is a post on the internet, is how many likes and shares and comments you get, is a level of relationship that you have with certain people, and it's almost like a digital tether that is connected to your level of existence.
Exactly.
But it's also an extension of that same. So think about it: as above, so below. It's simply just an extension of the same system, organized on a different level.
It's true, under same laws. I mean, the same thing if I'm saying to you personally, or I'm speaking on a microphone. The thing is with the internet is you can reach more people immediately, much easier, because you can, if you say something positive, if you say something good, if you say something that'll make people vibrate at a better level, or raise their internal like output of essentially of energy, then the universe, I would imagine, would recognize that as a form of those trust. So like, if you're always on the internet and you're spreading as much good as you can, extracting value from things, helping people, and just not being a dick, so to speak, I would imagine that the universe would look upon that and be like, okay, well, this person is, but then again, the universe just sends you raw energy, right? So whatever I'm making, if I'm causing any good, it has to reverberate with raw energy back.
Your raw energy, so the polarization, is within the system. Okay, so the universe is gonna, if the universe, so there's multiple ways that energy comes back to you. Energy comes back to you either through gratitude. Okay, so someone can give you energy with gratitude. Now that's a unidirectional force. There is no opposition to gratitude. Right? So when that energy hits you, what do you feel? Your heart opens up, and you're like,
yeah, it feels great,
right? So that's not the polarization of your mind taking over. It changes the polarization of your mind, right? What we're talking about is if you are a magician and you are performing magic with your words, with your actions, and your influences, and you go out there and you understand relationship, you understand natural law, and you create an energy deficiency between you and that which you have a relationship with, the universe will have to compensate. And this typically happens, with the law of multitude. What do I mean by that? The Jeff Bezos is the best example. You remember, so for everybody out there, we're going to talk about something called the doors of opportunity. And this is an example that I give of how a magician operates. And so firstly, you have a trust-based universe. The universe works on a system of trust. You have to gain its trust in order for you to be able to utilize and influence it. It's very similar to the Force in Star Wars. This is why every Darth Lord, Dark Lord in the Sith Order was a Jedi Master. They didn't start as a Sith initiate. They started as a Jedi Master in the Sith Order. Because you had to master one section before you could understand the second.
Right.
And you had to gain a level of trust. And then they abused that trust with emotion. So, when we're talking about this, is the best example I can give is doors of opportunity. Imagine that you're going to go out in your life and you're going to start something new. You have no experience in this field, so the universe doesn't trust you very well in this field because you don't have any field experience. So you go out there and you get an opportunity. If you have very little experience in something, how many job opportunities are going to be out there for you?
Not much.
Not many, right? It's the same restaurant and there's 3 positions. Pick one, right?
Right.
Okay. So you walk in that door. And typically, when you have no experience in something, the moment you walk through that door, what happens to you?
You get nervous.
Yeah, you get nervous, you mess up, you drop something, you screw up, you're afraid you're going to get fired, you have fear. So you get punched in the nose, you get kicked in the stomach, and you get kneed in the balls.
Right.
Most people, if that opportunity was not to their liking and was awkward feeling, they what?
Yep. Run.
Not for me. See ya. Bye. They close that door and they go on to the next one. There is people right now on this planet that's been their whole life. Is they walk in an opportunity, it's too much for them, and they leave. You guys know them. They walk in an opportunity, they get punched in the nose, they get kicked in the stomach metaphorically. They don't like the opportunity, no matter what the money is, and they leave. Daddy and mommy set it up, and they leave. And they, I'm just going to go back to school, get my master's degree, and teach gender studies, right? This is what they do. So, what happens to the guy who goes through that opportunity knowing that, hey, if I get through these obstacles, I will learn something. I will gain trust with the universe, and I will receive a small reward. Now, the small reward is the energy deficiency for going through the obstacles that you expended to go through the obstacles, okay? Right? And the amount of trust that you earned with the universe. And so you go through this obstacle, and the universe goes, hey, here's a small little reward, and you get $8 an hour. And you're like, yeah, my hour's worth $8. Cool. The next day you wake up, now you got this experience of going through the punch in the nose, the kick in the stomach, and the knee in the balls. You got the experience for moving through all the obstacles. And you go into the next door, you open up the next door, and there's 2 doors this time. Now you have a choice because the universe trusts you just a little bit more. It's a trust-based universe.
So the first door would just be the same door you just walked through. And the second door, there's going to be different punches and kicks.
Both of the new doors are different punches and kicks, but now you have a choice of which one you want to go through. So you open up one door, you start to go through it, you get a punch in the nose, you're like, wasn't as bad as the first one. You get a kick in the gut, and you're like, I can handle that. And you look past all the obstacles, and you see a reward that's just a little bit bigger. That's the energy from the universe coming back to you. You see that each step that you make through new obstacles, the universe is giving you more trust and more reward. And so you get through this one and you get this even bigger reward. Now you're up to $8.50 an hour. So next day you wake up and there's 4 doors. There's 4 doors of opportunity.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
So would the first punch, kick, and whatever be the hardest you're ever going to receive? Because as you go through more doors?
No.
Right?
Think about it as a chess game.
Okay, yeah.
Okay? What's happening as you go through that chess game? If you're learning how to play the game and strategizing, your opponents should get more and more difficult the higher the levels you go. But you as well should become more experienced a player and understand the board and all the pieces more intricately. So therefore, the punch in the nose is not a surprise. It's not like, oh my God, I wasn't expecting that, like it was in the first door. Now it's like, oh, I see what's going on here. I see how this operates, and this is going to work, and I can work around it, or I can work with it, or I can work through it. Okay? So these second doors, now we're in the 4 doors. So now you have a choice of 4 doors. And you look past the obstacles, and the path to get there, it's a little bit shorter. Path is a little bit shorter. Reward, a little bit bigger. The punch in the nose, player is good, but I'm on a roll. Kick in the stomach, I know how to do that. Knee in the balls, don't even hurt anymore. Why? Because I enjoy playing chess now. I enjoy the game. I understand the rules. I know how this game operates. And so I move through and I get that. Okay? And the next day, 8 doors. The next day after that, 16 doors. After that, 32. Until one day you wake up and you're Jeff Bezos. And you have an infinite amount of possibilities that can manifest for you in doors of opportunities because you have a level of trust with the universe that is undefined. There is no major obstacle between you and that very, very high reward. And anything that you do to produce action changes the world immediately and instantaneously. That's how the universe works. That's
You're
a
living
magician.
in the highest reward, essentially.
That's right.
Always.
Now think about this: is whatever we think of Jeff Bezos, he literally can pick up his phone one morning, answer an email, and say yes, and that email will change the world instantaneously, right then and there. Thousands of news agencies will be reporting about it. People will be put into action. Billions of dollars will be aggregated. Change the world just like that. By one simple yes that took nothing more than a half a second for him to reply. That's a magician. Right. That's magic. And that's because he has a level of trust. Now, how did he get that level of trust?
By doing what I said before, spreading.
Well, he went through all those doors of obstacles, right?
Of course.
But he didn't do it by promoting evil, right? He didn't do it by joining the Sith Order, like he probably is in now. He did it by becoming a Jedi Master. And the Jedi Master knew is that there's something known as the law of multitudes, multiplicity. So right now, we're practicing. I talked about this before. Right now, we're practicing this. I'm giving Dimitri information, right? Dimitri's growing and learning from the information I'm giving him. I'm depleting myself of knowledge. I'm taking this knowledge and I'm using energy to expend it and put it out there. So I'm creating a deficiency while Dimitri's getting an efficiency of energy.
You're not depleting knowledge. You're depleting energy.
You're depleting energy in the containment of giving out knowledge. Okay. Now, how many people are watching? We got about 400, 500 people watching. Every single one of them is getting it as well. And now everybody will do something with this knowledge, because guess what? You all have an excess now, because I'm giving you energy. You're all going to have an excess. So now you're going to take that knowledge and say, dude, I heard this guy last night. He was talking about all this stuff and it was pretty cool. You need to listen to it. And now someone else is going to listen to it. And eventually this will change lives. Eventually this will mold actions. And now here's the thing, is if you take this information I give you and you turn it into internal knowledge, and you equate that internal knowledge to an alchemical process of ritual and routine and utilize it to influence your life, which brings about causation and effect, and that effect is beneficial to your life and the life of others, then the universe goes, that's karma. And that karma comes back to who? Follow that tether all the way back.
Right.
Comes back to
the
me.
The origin of the knowledge.
That's right. And then it goes back from me to all my teachers, right? So, here's the thing, is the knowledge, the energy that the universe sends back, okay, is in this raw, untapped form. As an alchemist, I can transmute that energy towards my internal polarization. So let's say I'm having a bad day that day. Gonna be a really bad day then. Let's say I'm having a really good day that day. I'm going to have a really good day. And your internal state dictates how that energy compensation comes back to you. And this is why it's paramount that you keep your energy aligned in a very positive and balanced manner.
I like to say it is do the right thing when no one's looking.
That's right.
So if you're alone and there's nobody to teach, there's nobody to pass information to, but there's something that you can do to still do the right thing, like pick up someone's recycling bin that's on the side of the street. Small action, nothing. What are you really benefiting? But it's a way of building discipline inside of yourself.
You're frozen, by the way. There you are. You're coming back.
Yeah, it keeps saying my internet connection is unstable, but I don't know why. Yeah, so somebody said before, Dimitri, when you're passing on good things, it'll make other people do good things. But even if there's nobody around, when you're doing something good when no one's looking, when you're doing the right thing when no one's looking, you're instilling in yourself that constant state of acceptance of this energy whenever it does come.
Right.
So you won't catch it on a bad day, if you will.
Now, does everybody want to know one of the biggest secrets here? God is impartial. God does not come down and interact with any conscious being. Why? Because God's impartial, and natural law is meant to keep the divine order. But let me ask you this. The battle of light and dark. How does that balance maintain? As above, so below. Think about human consciousness, for instance. Okay? We have our own collective organism, our own collective consciousness that's interconnected with these tethers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The balance of that is dictated by what?
Interactions that we make.
That's right. And what is the goodness of those interactions or the badness or darkness of those interactions, right?
Right.
So like Catnip just said, we do his work. That's right. It works through us. Therefore, the balance of our collective, whether it's in a state of dark or a light, is determined by our collective action.
Choice.
So if nobody is moving through doors of opportunity, learning anything new, that means that they will lack within knowledge. They lack within knowledge, they become more susceptible to corruption, they become more susceptible to coercion, they become more susceptible to ignorance, to nescience. Therefore, they move towards darkness by default because that is an undefined state of fear.
See, that's where the catch-22 is. That's where it gets you. Because people think that you have to do bad things to be evil. You don't. Stagnant is just as bad as being evil.
That's right.
You're just not doing anything unto anyone else.
That's
if you're
right.
not gaining anything, you're just...
That's why evolution, learning something that you did not know is the definition of spiritual progression and evolution. Because that is the purpose. That is what we're here to do, is expand that collective knowledge base, that collective understanding of ourselves into the sphere of influence of which we exist in. This other level of correspondence that we have a relationship with that's on a much larger level than we are. And by the way, that level of intelligence is probably what we consider these gods, and is probably what dictates a lot of our action today. Because for the most part, have you ever sat there and watched an ant farm? And like, come on, dude, go to that hole, go to that hole. And you shake it up a little bit, like, come on. It seems like they're shaking this ant farm a lot these days. Wake up, guys, come on, wake up.
There's a lot of ants that don't know where the fuck they're going. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And they don't even, not even that they don't even want to, like we were talking about with David the other day. Like, they just want to stay in there. They just want things to go back to normal. They want things to where they are. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see that. Well, that I like things the way they are mentality is essentially going to make you susceptible to the people that know you have this and will take it and use it to their advantage and only their advantage.
Yep.
Essentially making you a tool for evil, even though you might not know that you are.
No, you're just an extension of that black magician creating darkness. And that's what disinformation, misinformation, propaganda, that's what all this is. It's nothing but an extension of a dark magician's power. You gotta remember, all magic is influence. You cannot force natural law. Remember this. You cannot force natural law. You can only influence your environment. Therefore, every black magician must act within concert of natural law. And you, if he does not want the negative feedback, must act within ignorance of his power. Hence why everything is occulted.
So no one sees.
So you don't see the power around you. And the biggest trick that they ever did was not convincing the world that the devil never existed, was convincing the world that he did.
Exactly.
Because the moment they convinced the world that the devil existed, they could take anything they wanted and throw it under that container.
Yep, it was him. Yeah.
Just like right now what is happening in the United States of America with disinformation, misinformation, medical information, domestic terrorism, white supremacy, and all these other things, is they create a label, a container, and they throw things under it, and it doesn't matter what they put under it, it now associates with it. The devil's the same way.
And the mass of people that are just blindly saying, okay, I'll believe that, let's go, we now hate this.
Here's the thing, is the devil a real thing? Absolutely it is. It is the
Deception.
power and the influence of dark magicians working against humanity to produce an era of darkness. Exactly as John, who wrote Revelations, is talking about.
Now, you had said that Bezos wasn't, he was a Jedi, but then you said maybe now he's with the Order of the Sith.
I don't know. I don't have much information on Bezos, what
Me
Bezos
neither.
has done. And so I've heard speculation. I've never researched him heavily. People think he's a deep stater because Amazon is utilizing a lot of that. It could be coerced collusion. We don't know, right? Coerced collusion is think about coerced collusion. What that means is you are forced to make moves with your business because if you don't, your business is done. You're done. They have something on you.
Yeah.
So Rogue Gamer said, "Are we in the Great Awakening?" My friend,
We're in the thick of it, bro.
no. The Great Awakening is just begun. The reason why this knowledge is coming out now, the reason why I have an audience and I'm telling you this knowledge, I would never, ever, a year ago, no.
Same here.
I would not share this knowledge with anybody.
I
The
didn't even
reason
know
is because I would tell you is because this knowledge is dangerous. Because when you know this knowledge, you can now influence other states. If you understand what I'm talking about, if you understand how this works, you can become a magician. You can change things instantaneously just with thought because you have a level of trust with the universe. Manifestation happens instantaneously. Creation happens instantaneously. Words and spells. Look at words and spells, right? Words, spells, books, these types of things. Sigils, symbols, talismans. You know what all these things do? They hold trust. It's like someone gives you this sword and says, swing it in a crowd.
Yeah.
They hold trust. They hold garnered trust with the universe. And that's why they're powerful.
That's why they say think before you speak.
That's
which
right.
Is what I'm saying is like you could say something, like even to yourself, like you say something that you're, like say affirmation or an intention. And then you could take that same thing, think about it a little bit more. Just think a little bit deeper into it and rearrange it. And just the fact that you thought about it more, you put more energy of thought behind it, it makes it stronger in itself. Just that same affirmation. Just because, and this is just like a practice what you can do by yourself on a smaller level, like not changing the world, but like just changing your world first, essentially. You know, so like, why am I saying this? Where are my thoughts coming from? Like, is this really the right thing for everyone and me? And then if you think about anything you say like that, there's probably something you could say that would be a little bit more towards the positive side of that spectrum, because a lot of people act on impulse and emotion, right? And that's where it all comes from.
Well, and everything that we're talking about here has to do with the balance of your internal pyramid. Right. If your internal pyramid is unbalanced, imbalanced, if you are not within a healthy balance of dark to light, how do you think that effective you're going to be with the universe trusting you?
Of course.
So that's why you have good days and bad days.
Do you think there needs to be a balance? Is there someone, could there potentially, hypothetically, being someone that is all light or like 99% light?
Buddha took what path?
Enlightenment.
Zen Buddhism. What is the path?
Okay.
It's the middle path.
Okay. Okay. To take everything as it is and become one with it. To be comfortable in any situation.
Right. Leave polarity for the transient world. If you begin to look at things, you become a stoic when you start to look things in an unpolarized perspective. You start seeing things logically and rationally, which is healthy if you have an incorporated right brain interpretation. And understanding why you're looking at it logically and rationally, because you're perceiving the world in an unpolarized perspective.
Right.
That natural law is natural law and all things fall into place through natural law. So therefore, this event happened because of the proceedings, the synchronicities of natural law. Therefore, logical, rational explanation says this.
Right.
That's stoicism.
Yeah.
It's understanding the world from a higher level of intelligence, a higher perspective of how the world functions and operates. If we look at things like, man, just a shitty day, another damn thing went wrong, blah, 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 blah. I'm blaming the world. Yeah, I wish tomorrow were different. I'm blaming the world for my problems, for my internal imbalances. I blame the world for my internal imbalances.
Yeah, don't wish for things to be different. Wish for things to happen just the way they will.
Right.
And
but here's the thing: is that
do your best.
People blame the world for their internal imbalances, when in actuality, it's simply natural law reacting to your internal imbalance.
And it's mostly you creating it. It's like,
no, it is
where
you
the hell?
Creating
Where the hell did those keys? Where the hell did those car keys go? Just that sentence. Where the hell did those car keys? What do you mean? Where did they go? They don't go anywhere. Where did you put them?
Now, guys, if you guys like talking about these types of topics, what I want you to do is I want you to go hit that like button and subscribe on this YouTube channel. I know we got to start a little bit late today. If you are on Rumble, or if you're on Twitch or Periscope or LinkedIn, DLive, Foxhole, wherever you are, make sure you like and follow and subscribe and do all those good things. And don't forget to check us out, redpills.tv. We got tons of cool stuff. This show is kind of just becoming this learning platform where we're putting a lot of this out. I'm actually putting together probably a 3-day workshop on all of this. So if you guys are interested to get in depth into like a learning classroom with all this, let me know that you're interested. Send me a message on the Social Red Pill, www.socialredpill.com. Send me a message on there saying you're interested in it. It probably won't be free, I'm sorry, but if you want the free aspect of it, you can get it right here because it'll be out there. But it's going to be 3 days and a lot of time that we're going to have to do that, and I have to build it as well. But I love you guys. I respect you guys. Much respect. Take care. We're going to see you tomorrow. Daily Dose, Insomniac Hour. Candace Taylor on Daily Dose and Insomniac Hour. It's going to be an extension of what we're talking about tonight. Cosmic order, natural law, magic, more of the magicians, more of the mind, more of consciousness, more of understanding, because that's truly what is keeping us up at night. Is all these transient things in here which are unbalanced and just acting within natural law. And so it's easy to change if you know your internal magician. Take care. Bye, guys.
Good night.